The philosopher Søren Kierkegaard once wrote, "Once you label me, you negate me." Think about that for a second. The moment you define something or someone with a single label, you limit its potential. You reduce its complexity. Now, what happens when you apply that same logic to your own mind, to your own thinking? The moment you start outsourcing your judgment, you begin to negate yourself. You weaken your own ability to think critically. And over time, you stop trusting yourself. Okay, so here's the thing. It's not always about feeling insecure or just lacking self-esteem, right? I really think it's deeper, you know? It's because you totally stopped trusting your own internal compass. You simply let go of being the final decider in your own life. And honestly, modern tech just makes falling into this trap ridiculously easy. We live in the age of instant answers. Anything you could possibly want to know is right at your fingertips. You have a question, you get an answer instantly. You need to search, summarize, generate ideas, compare products, or optimize a plan. There are tools for all of it. AI, search engines, forums, comment sections, endless review systems. The amount of information available to us is staggering, and that is undeniably powerful. It has opened up worlds of knowledge. But there's a hidden cost, a subtle price we pay for this convenience. We don't sit with questions anymore. We don't let them linger in our minds. We eliminate them as quickly as they appear. Before you even have a chance to form a genuine opinion on something, you're already checking what everyone else thinks. Before you make a decision, you're drowning yourself in research. Before you trust your gut feeling, that little instinct telling you which way to go, you search for external confirmation to validate it. You know, every time you do this, you're totally reinforcing a habit. That constant turning outward for answers, it really weakens something important inside you, right? You're teaching yourself your own thoughts aren't enough. Here's a crucial truth. Real confidence isn't built on always being correct. It's built in the messy, uncertain process of decision-making itself. When you're faced with a problem, and you have to sit with that uncomfortable feeling of uncertainty, evaluate the options internally, and then commit to a path. That's when your mental and emotional resilience strengthens. It's like a muscle. You're training your nervous system to handle ambiguity and to trust your own reasoning. But when you eliminate that uncertainty the second it appears, you completely bypass the strengthening process. You don't give yourself the time or the space to actually think. You don't test your own logic. You don't learn to tolerate doubt. Instead, you escape it. You run to Google. You ask an AI. You poll your friends. That instinct to escape discomfort isn't new, but technology, especially AI, has amplified it to an incredible degree. It's a powerful tool for escape, and we are participating willingly every single day. The philosopher Michel Foucault had this fascinating idea about how invisible systems shape our reality. He argued that these systems, social structures, norms, technologies, define what we consider to be normal, to the point where we don't even notice their influence. We just adapt. Now, think about our current system of information. When answers are instant, taking time for reflection starts to feel inefficient, even lazy. When other people's opinions are everywhere, blasting at you from every screen, developing your own internal clarity can start to feel optional, like a nice to have, but not essential. But here's the thing. What becomes normal slowly shapes your identity. If your normal is to constantly check externally for validation, you will slowly, almost imperceptibly, begin to distrust yourself internally. It's not a dramatic overnight change. It's a quiet, gradual erosion of self-trust. Just take a moment and notice how often you do these things. How often do you Google something before allowing yourself to reach your own conclusion? How often do you ask an AI for ideas before you even try to brainstorm? How many times have you checked reviews for a restaurant or a movie before simply trusting your own taste? How often do you scroll through comments and opinions before forming your own? Individually, none of these actions are harmful. They seem small, insignificant. We tell ourselves, I'm just being thorough, or I'm just doing my research. And maybe sometimes that's true. But when these small actions are repeated daily, they become habits. And these habits are identity shifting. Your mind becomes dependent on external confirmation to feel secure. And any form of dependency ultimately reduces confidence. So, are you just being thorough? Or are you deeply uncomfortable with the responsibility of deciding alone? This leads to a strange paradox, the illusion of being informed. You can spend hours consuming endless perspectives, reading every article, watching every video, and still feel completely unsure, paralyzed by indecision. Why? Because clarity doesn't come from the volume of information you consume. It comes from commitment. It comes from the decision to stop consuming and start processing. At some point, you have to close the browser tab. You have to put the phone down. You have to make a choice. And every meaningful choice carries a little bit of risk. There's always the chance you could be wrong. Technology is designed to reduce friction and risk, to make life smoother. But friction is what builds strength. By avoiding it, we're avoiding the very thing that makes us stronger. We need to redefine what intelligence means in this new era. True intelligence is not about how quickly you can retrieve information from an external source. It's about how calmly you can make a decision when you don't have all the information. Real strength is being able to sit with incomplete data, with ambiguity, with uncertainty, and still trust your own reasoning to navigate forward. That is internal authority. And it's a skill that most people are quietly losing. Not because AI or search engines exist, but because they have stopped exercising their own judgment. Ultimately, this all comes down to accountability. Technology is just a tool. It's a powerful amplifier. What does it amplify? It amplifies whatever you practice. If you consistently practice outsourcing your thinking, you will lose confidence. Your mind will learn that it can't be trusted. But if you practice thinking for yourself, if you practice sitting with uncertainty and making a call, you will strengthen that muscle. You don't distrust yourself because you're incapable. You distrust yourself because you stopped listening to your own inner voice. You've gotten out of the habit of being the one who decides. The algorithm suggests. The AI generates. The search engine ranks. But at the end of the day, you are the one who decides. If you don't practice that act of deciding, you will lose the ability to do it with confidence. And that loss isn't a technological problem. It's a behavioral one. Becoming aware of this isn't meant to be comfortable. It's meant to be a call to action, a reclaiming of responsibility. Thanks for watching. If this resonated with you, consider subscribing for more content that makes you think.